Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we'll follow Jack, Tu Tien and little Anna as they turn their small farm into a warmth factory, collecting bags of winter clothes and cooking mountains of homemade food to personally deliver to poor mountain children at a remote boarding school. If you enjoy this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. By the time Jack turns the white car into their little lane, the whole back seat has gone quiet. Anna, worn out from a whole day of staring at lions, feeding goats and pressing her face to the aquarium glass, is finally asleep in her car seat. Her two tiny braids are crooked, cheeks still round and pink from excitement. Tu Tien twists around to look at her, exhaustion and happiness mixing on her face. "She lasted longer than I thought," she murmurs. Jack eases the car over the last bump and smiles. "Our daughter stared down a tiger today," he says. "Of course she lasted." They park in the yard. The evening air carries a thin chill. Jack opens the back door carefully, unbuckles Anna, and lifts her out with the familiar tenderness of a father who has carried this little body through worse days than this. She sighs, nuzzles into his neck, and doesn't wake. Inside, they change her, tuck her into bed, and switch on the small nightlight. When the bedroom door closes, the house falls into a soft, peaceful quiet. In the kitchen, Tu Tien reheats soup and slices some bread. They sit opposite each other at the small table, steam rising from their bowls, the soundtrack of the night just crickets and distant dogs. As they eat, Jack idly scrolls his phone. A news post about an early cold wave in the northern mountains slides past. Then a picture makes him stop. He turns the screen toward her. "Look at this." The photo shows a group of ethnic minority children standing in front of a wooden school. Their smiles are bright, but their shirts are thin, sleeves too short. Fog curls behind them. You can almost feel the cold seeping off the screen. "It's already that cold up there?" Tu Tien whispers. "Looks like it," he says. "Down here we complain and grab another jacket up there." He trails off. For a moment, neither of them speaks. Just a few hours ago, they were watching penguins with Anna in a warm indoor tank, buying her a small stuffed turtle, feeding her hot food in a bright cafe. Now they're looking at children breathing out white clouds in the open air. "I still have a whole box of her winter clothes from last year," Tu Tien says slowly. "Tiny jackets, pants, socks. She's too big for them now." Jack leans back, mind already shifting into planning mode. An idea sparks. "What if it's not just ours?" he says. "What if we collect clothes from everyone? Staff, neighbors, people in town. Anything warm for kids, especially babies and students up there?" "You mean like a drive?" she asks. "Yes," he nods. "1 month, we set up boxes, tell people clearly, washed, usable winter clothes for mountain kids. At the end, we wash everything again, dry it, pack it, and we drive up to deliver them ourselves." She looks at the photo again. "A small winter corner for them," she murmurs. "A warmer niche in all that fog." Jack smiles at the phrase. Exactly. They stay up later than usual that night, scribbling ideas on scrap paper. Donation boxes with the company logo. Posters in local cafes and shops. Messages in group chats. A simple message. Your children's old warm clothes can become someone else's shield against the cold. By the time they finally collapse into bed, the plan is rough, but alive. The next morning, Jack leaves early in his white car, energy buzzing just under his calm voice. In the company meeting room, his staff gather with notebooks and cups of coffee, They expect talk about deadlines and construction schedules. Today, Jack begins, I want to talk about something that won't bring us any profit at all. That gets everyone's attention. He projects the same photo onto the wall, the kids in thin clothes, fog thick behind them, and explains the situation. He tells them about the box of Anna's old jacket sitting in his wardrobe, about the idea he and Tu Tien had after dinner. For the next month, he says, I want us to run a winter clothes drive for mountain kids. Baby clothes, school-age clothes, anything warm and still usable. We'll collect, wash, dry, and at the end we'll load it all into my car and ride up to an ethnic boarding school to give it directly. No middleman, just us. Silence hangs for a second. Then one staff member speaks up. My sister's kids outgrew a lot of jackets, I can ask her. Another adds, the cafe near the market can put a donation box at their door. People come and go all day. A third raises his hand. My wife's in a big parenting group chat. She can share the information there. The room warms. Ideas start bouncing around. Posters, drop-off points, social media posts. Someone volunteers to design a simple flyer. Someone else offers to handle sorting by size. Jack listens, assigning tasks, heart swelling a little. We build houses and roads all year, he finishes. This month, let's build some warmth too. Back at the farm, while Jack works the clothes side, Tu Tien quietly starts on the food side of their plan. They'll be cold, she thinks, but cold is easier to bear with something hot in your stomach. She decides on 3 things she can make in big batches with what they have. Fried, sticky rice cakes, ban chung, fried bananas from their own garden. After feeding Anna and cleaning up breakfast, she pulls down a big plastic box from the top of the wardrobe. Tiny jackets, fleece pants, socks with cartoon bears spill out. She spreads them on the bed. Anna crawls over, grabbing at the sleeves with her little hands. You wore this when you could barely stand, Tu Tien says, holding up a small jacket. Now look at you. Anna babbles and tries to chew a sleeve. These will keep someone else warm now, her mother says softly. You already grew past them. She folds everything neatly into a bag for Jack to take to the office. Outside their home, the drive slowly takes shape. Jack's company puts a big box at the entrance. They drop a second one at the cafe near the market, another at a grocery store. Word spreads. In the beginning, only a few bags appear, a couple of jackets, some sweaters, a pair of tiny boots, then more. Parents clean out wardrobes and show up at the company gate with armfuls of clothes. Shop owners call to say, our box is full, can you come pick it up? By the second week, the company's back lot is lined with sacks of donated clothes. Staff set up big basins and clotheslines. On washing days, the yard looks like a strange, colourful forest. Shirts, pants, and little coats sway on every rope, dripping water, catching sunlight. Jack rolls up his sleeves and stands ankle-deep in soapy water with everyone else, wringing out tiny jackets, checking seams, tossing hopeless pieces into a separate pile. When his phone rings, he answers with wet hands, laughing. Sometimes he drives home for a quick lunch and finds his house turned into a festival kitchen. On one side of the stove, a huge pot of banchung is boiling, steam coating the windows. On the other, oil hisses as dough balls puff into golden fried cakes. Trays of finished cakes cool on bamboo racks. The whole house smells sweet and savory at once. Anna sits on a mat nearby with plastic cups, banging them together like drums. Her 2 little braids bob each time she laughs. Don't scare the neighbours, Jack jokes, stepping in. She's practicing to be the welcoming committee. Tu Tien smiles, wiping sweat from her forehead. On banana days, after Jack has gone back to the company, she takes a basket and walks alone into the garden. She cuts bunches of ripe bananas, their skins dotted with brown. Back in the kitchen, she slices them, dips each piece in batter, and slides it into hot oil. The sizzling fills the room. When she tastes one, it burns her tongue slightly, but she smiles anyway. Sweet, she thinks, like the way I want their day to taste. Day after day, the piles grow. In the company yard, sacks of clean, dry, sorted clothes. In their home, stacks of banchang, trays of fried cakes and fried bananas wrapped and packed into large baskets and trays. One evening, when Anna has finally fallen asleep and the last tray of cakes has cooled, Jack comes home and stands with Tu Tien in the doorway, looking at everything they've gathered. "Almost 10 bags of clothes," he says quietly. "And all this food." "Tomorrow," she replies, voice low but firm. "We load it all into the car. And then we drive up," he finishes. "You, me, Anna, and the team, straight to the mountain school." They are exhausted, eyes dark, hands rough from water, smoke and flour. But there's a fierce, quiet light in both their faces. For a whole month, between work and caring for their daughter, they've been slowly packing warmth into bags and baskets. Now finally it's almost time to put all of it into a white car and send it up a winding road toward children who don't yet know that this little family has been thinking of them with every wash, every fold, every cake dropped into the pan. Dawn comes pale and cold on the day they've been preparing for. Jack wakes before the alarm, lies still for a second, and listens. The house feels unusually quiet, like it's holding its breath. In the next room, Anna murmurs in her sleep. Outside, a rooster's broken crow echoes across the yard. By 6, the front yard looks like a tiny warehouse. 10 bulging sacks of washed, sorted winter clothes stand lined along the wall, tied and labelled by size. Nearby, big bamboo trays rest under clean cloths, hiding rows of fried sticky rice cakes and fried bananas. In one corner, stacks of banchang sit neatly, still smelling faintly of boiled leaves and sticky rice. Tu Tien steps out with Anna on her hip, both in jackets. Anna's 2 little braids poke out from under a small wool hat. Her eyes follow the piles curiously. "Big day, hey Con?" Tu Tien whispers. "We've been cooking and washing for this." Jack opens the trunk of his white car, folds the back seats down, and starts loading. He lifts the heavy bags of clothes one by one. She carries the trays and baskets. The trunk fills, then the back area. Cakes and bananas go in last, wedged snug between the sacks so nothing shifts. Anna watches from the porch, chewing on one finger. When Jack finishes, he picks her up and lets her pat the car door. "What do you think, Kong Chua? Enough?" She answers with a serious babble and another firm smack on the metal. By the time the sun clears the trees, the first motorbikes roll up to the gate. One by one, Jack's employees arrive, helmets on, jackets zipped, hands red from the cold. They park along the lane, engines idling, then cut the noise and step inside. "Morning, boss," someone calls. "Looks like you're opening a mobile shop." "Charity branch," Jack corrects, laughing. "But first, everyone eats." Inside, the table is crowded. Big pot of rice porridge, boiled eggs, a plate of reject fried cakes that didn't fit in the donation trays. Staff squeezed together on stools and benches. Anna wanders between legs and bags, 2 braids bouncing, arms outstretched to whoever calls her name. Jack taps his spoon on the bowl. "Thank you for the last month," he says. "Today's simple. We drive up together, give the clothes and food directly to the kids, help them choose what fits, then come home safely. That's all." "And if the road is bad?" one guy jokes. "Then you push my car," Jack shoots back. The whole room laughs. After breakfast, everyone bundles up again. Outside, helmets go on, jacket zips snap shut, scarves get wrapped tighter. Jack straps Anna into her car seat, making sure her hat covers her ears. Tu Tien takes the front passenger seat. Behind them, staff swing onto their motorbikes, adjusting gloves and straps. The little convoy pulls out, Jack's white car in front, a line of motorbikes trailing behind like a small tail. Neighbors turn to look. Some wave. Jack honks once in greeting. The town falls away quickly, replaced by fields and small hamlets. Then the road begins to climb. Curves tighten, cliffs edge closer, the air sharpens. Anna looks out the window, wide-eyed. Rice paddies give way to terraced hillsides, patches of forest, wooden houses balanced on slopes. Dogs bark as they pass. Children stop their games to stare at the unusual parade of bikes and the white car with its hidden cargo. "Look how they farm up there," Tu Tien murmurs. "One wrong step and you fall." "Same as us," Jack replies. "One careful step at a time." After nearly 2 hours of climbing, they pull into the yard of a small ethnic boarding school perched on the hillside. The building is simple, faded paint, tin roof, lines of laundry, but the yard is full of children's voices. A teacher comes out to meet them, scarf tight around her neck, eyes bright. "You must be Jack and your team," she says. "We've been waiting." Jack shakes her hand. "Thank you for welcoming us. We brought some clothes and food my wife cooked. It's not huge, but it's plenty," she replies. "You came all this way. That's already a gift." They pull the white car into the yard. Engines go silent. For a moment, there's only wind and the sound of kids whispering, trying to guess what's inside. Then Jack claps his hands. "All right, unloading team." The trunk opens and the quiet yard explodes into movement. Staff form a chain from car to porch. Sacks of clothes travel from hand to hand. Baskets and trays follow. As one cloth lifts, the smell of fried cake and banana slips into the cold air. A few children sniff unconsciously, eyes locked on the trays. Inside a classroom, teachers clear space. Sacks line the wall. One of Jack's team quickly tapes size labels above each pile. When the first bag opens, a colourful wave spills out. Jackets, pants, hats, socks. Some still smell of detergent, others of sun-dried fabric from Jack's yard. Tu Tien kneels by a stack, fingers brushing a tiny pink jacket she remembers folding for Anna months ago. A tightness grips her chest, then loosens as she looks up. In the doorway, a small girl stands barefoot, arms crossed against the cold, eyes glued to the clothes. "Come," Tu Tien says gently, signaling her closer. She holds up the jacket. "Try this?" The girl hesitates, glances at her teacher. After a nod, she shuffles forward. Up close, Tu Tien sees how thin her shirt is, how red her hands are. She helps the girl into the jacket. It's a little big, which is perfect. The child's eyes widen, her hands smooth the sleeves like she's touching something fragile. "Warm?" Tu Tien asks. A shy smile appears. The girl nods. All around the room, similar scenes repeat. Jack and his staff help boys and girls dig through piles, swap sizes, tug zippers up and fasten buttons. There is laughter when sleeves hang past fingertips or pants nearly reach chins. They trade, adjust, try again. Scarves are wrapped, hats pulled down low, socks matched as best as possible. Outside, when most have found something that fits, the teacher calls everyone into lines. That's when the food comes out. On a long table, they lay thick slices of ban chung, mountains of fried sticky rice cakes, and golden fried bananas. The smell turns the cold yard into a temporary festival ground. The kids line up, breath fogging the air, eyes huge. Some hold the edges of their new jackets as if afraid someone might take them back. Jack and his team move down the lines, placing food into small hands. One slice of ban chung, one cake, one banana. Eat slowly, a teacher reminds. No rushing. Anna watches everything from her mother's arms, braids peeking under her hat. A boy about her size comes closer, clutching his plate. He looks at her pink cheeks, at the little stuffed toy peeking from her pocket. She stares back, then reaches out with a sticky hand and offers him half-chewed banana. Everyone nearby laughs softly. The boy grins and waves instead. When the first round of eating calms, Jack and the head teacher stand to one side, talking quietly about the school, how many children live there, how far their villages are, what they struggle with most each winter. Jack listens more than he speaks. He looks at the buildings, at the thin blankets hanging in the dorm, at the kids chasing each other in the cold yard with warm food in their stomachs and new jackets on their backs. Later, before they leave, they gather the children for a quick photo. The kids bunch together, some shy, some throwing peace signs. Jack stands behind them with his team. Tu Tien holds Anna at the front. For a brief second, the shutter catches all of it. Mountain fog, bright smiles, mismatched jackets, a white car in the background still half full of empty trays and folded sacks. On the drive home, the convoy is quieter. Anna falls asleep early, toy clutched in her hand. The road winds back down through the hills. The afternoon light turns the fields below soft and gold. In the front seat, Tu Tien leans her head back, tired to the bone, but lighter somehow. "We didn't fix their lives," she says softly. "But today felt right." Jack nods, eyes on the road. "We can't change everything, but we can show up. Again and again." Down in the valley, as their white car rolls toward home and the motorbikes buzz behind, the mountain school grows smaller in the mirror. But in the trunk and on their clothes, the faint smell of fried cakes and boiled leaves lingers. A reminder that for one cold day, a little farm family and a small construction team managed to carry warmth just a bit further up the mountain. After a joyful family trip to the zoo and aquarium, Jack and Tu Tien feel a tug on their hearts when they see news about mountain children facing harsh winter cold in thin clothes. Jack launches a one-month charity drive through his company, asking staff and neighbors across town to donate washed, usable winter clothes for ethnic minority kids, while his team collects, washes and dries nearly 10 sacks of jackets, pants and hats. Tu Tien turns their small farmhouse kitchen into a workshop, cooking huge batches of ban chung, fried sticky rice cakes and crispy fried bananas, with little Anna toddling around her feet. On the big day, Jack loads their white car, staff follow on motorbikes, and they drive up winding mountain roads to a remote boarding school, hand-delivering warm clothes and homemade food to the children.